And you can see we start with C major or Do major. And we have 3 chords. What are the 3 chords that we have there? One chord what? C, E, G. And what's the next chord? The 4 chord. And what's that? A, C. And then what's the next one? G, B, D. So I gave you the answers, right? And then you'll see we're working with bass clef because most of the time our chords are structured in bass clef, although certainly the right hand, the treble clef, uses plenty of chords, but they're usually more subtle. So I wrote them for you in root position. They look like snowmen, right? You've got your C snowman, your F snowman, and your G snowman. And I labeled them for you with the capital Roman numerals of 1, 4, and 5. Right? So what we're going to do is we're going to do first inversions. What happens in a first inversion if I turn it upside down once? Right? The bottom note goes to the top. So look at the 1 chord and copy the top 2 notes. And write your Roman numeral 1. Now the C has to go on top. And we have to label that it's first inversion, because this, the way it is right now, means root. So we have to put a tiny 6 in the corner. And we do that because what interval do we have in a root position chord on the bottom? A third. And on the top? And on the outside? Haha! Music math, 3 plus 3 is not 6. It's a 5th. Because you're sharing the middle note, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So when we have chords, thirds and fifths are normal. So we don't make any note of them. That's what we expect. Now in the first inversion, what do we have on the bottom? Third. What do we have on top? And more importantly, what do we have on the outside? 6. So 3 plus 4 is 6. Don't try to do music math. So that's why we make note of the 6. Okay? So then on your 4 chord, copy the top 2 notes. And then find the higher F. And label it. And then for the 5 chord, copy the higher notes. Find your high G and label it. Everybody with me so far? Anybody confused? Good. Draw your measure line. So now we have to turn it upside down again. Second inversion. What are we going to do? I forgot to tell me last time. Anybody else know? Alma?
Like from the first inversion, you put the bottom to the top.
Right. So So we're going to take the bottom note from first inversion and put it on the top. So now you copy the top two notes from first inversion. Mandy, would you move the camera so it's like closer to Alana? Yeah, we still can't see the whiteboard, but probably can you tell?
It's not always very bright.
I know, I've never been able to figure it out. That's why I usually send pictures. But is that better? Can you see it?
Yeah.
Okay, Sonia, why don't you move up so you're not tempted to bump it? Thank you, Mandy.
Okay.
So now we need our E to be the highest note. So find your high E. Now, what interval do we have on the bottom? 4. And what interval do we have outside? 6. And we have a third on the top, so we don't care. So when we label it, we label the 1, the 6, and the 4. Everybody with me? Okay. So for the 4 chord, you copy the top 2 notes from the first inversion. And then you find your high A. And you label it with the 6 and the 4. Alana, can you go see if that was your dad, please? Quick. Yeah? Okay. Have a seat. And then for the 5 chord, it's fine.
Okay.
I just saw a chair move and I was wondering how far down the block it went.
The chair thief.
Huh?
The chair thief.
I've lost several.
Have you?
Mm-hmm.
Well, one of them looks like it's breaking. It needs to.
Yeah, well, they broke it, so they can sit on it until it breaks.
Yeah.
Breaks all the way.
I'll just avoid it.
And then the 5 chord. Copy your top 2 notes from the 5 chord. Find your high B and label it. So why do we want to use inversions? It adds variation, yeah. It's certainly more interesting to move into inversions than just keep playing a root position C chord. Why else?
Sounds differently. Like sometimes if we put, like for example, an E, G, C, it sounds a bit different than C, E, G.
Yes. Any other reason?
If you invert it, then the C chord and the top 2 notes kind of beginning of
Right. Myra's getting close. The idea of voice leading, which sounds really complicated because it is. Sorry. But if I'm playing, like let's just take, I don't know, go tell my Brody. used to hearing it with the inversion. But F chord is no better. It's very disruptive, right? So the idea behind voice leading is that we prefer to hear notes that are close to each other. So when I go from the C chord to the G chord is in first inversion. I keep my G, I keep that note, and the other two notes are only a step down. So it's very comfortable voice leading. If I go to my F chord, I keep the C. So I get to keep that sound in my ear. And then the other two notes of the F chord are only a step up. So it's very comfortable. Instead of jumping all over the place. Now there's a reason to jump all over the place. Right? If that's what you want your song to sound like, if you want it to sound kind of disrupted, then you would use bigger intervals. And we do find as we go through history, the more modern the piece, the bigger the intervals, right? If you look at Chopin, he it's actually from Haydn, I'm playing it like Chopin now. He uses a lot of octaves, a lot of big chords, because he wants big sounds. Mozart didn't want that, right? He wanted a little melody with some very nice, subtle Alberti bass voice leading. Just like Otello Rondi. Ooh, G7. Right? So that's why we use inversions. So now if we go to the second one, what's our second key? G major. So again, I gave you the answers. So draw a new bass clef on your second staff. And then draw your root position, G chord, C chord, and D chord. No key signature, please. Draw the F sharp. So you should have 3 snowmen.
And then an F sharp.
Right, because the key of G has 1 sharp F sharp. Then for first inversion, copy your top 2 notes and find the high root. Oops. Make sure you keep the F sharp because it's a new measure. So the F sharp from the first measure is cancelled with your measure line. So you need to make sure to draw the new F sharp and use the new measure. Not too high, Catherine. There only has to be 1 note in there. Draw the line first so you can imagine how big the B note would be, and then draw the line. And then the C. And then while we're here, draw the line again, right across from it. And then you'll need a D in the space above. Right, okay, and then get your F sharp and your A. Okay. Measure line and then second inversion. Copy the top two notes from your first inversion. And then find your top note. Remembering that the top note is just a skip. Oh. So then your homework is to do the key of D. And if you're continuing in the composition class, not Catherine, but everybody else, I would highly recommend that you put this in plastic to bring it back, because it will be a handy dandy reference for you. And then next week, make sure you bring your composition books. So does everybody understand how to do D on their own? If you need help, bring it to your private lesson and we can go over it. But try to do it on your own, to think through it, because when I help you, then there's less thinking, right? Like today, you were really mostly copying me. You weren't figuring it out for yourself. So less learning takes place when you just copy me, and more learning takes place when you have to figure it out, even though it's more effort. Right? Okay, good job, guys. Everybody up? Thank you for learning.